What do you think of this notion of jobless entrepreneurship that's creeping into the policy dialogue?
Yes, I've seen that term recently used by the Kaufman Foundation. It's a puzzling term, jobless entrepreneurship, because it almost sounds like an oxymoron or a contradiction in terms. And I think it's a little bit of a misnomer, because I think jobless entrepreneurship, what they're talking about is sole proprietorships, one-man, one-woman companies that are set up that really don't have any employees. And that's not entrepreneurship, the way I'm defining entrepreneurship. It's self-employment. And I think one of the things that does is it reinforces the confusion that exists in policymakers' minds and a lot of the public between self-employment or just owning a company that's registered in your name and you're the owner of, and entrepreneurship. And so I want to say just a couple of words about the difference between self-employment and entrepreneurship, because it's very important, and the confusion is nearly ubiquitous, I would say. I've seen it, encountered it in many, many countries around the world. Self-employment and entrepreneurship are in many ways, in fact, even diametrically opposed. Let's start with mindset. The mindset of the entrepreneur is growth, it's aspiration, it's ambition, it's dissatisfaction with the status quo. The mindset of the self-employed is making enough to get by. It's putting food on the table, it's alleviating poverty, it's making sure that you have access to the basics, you can pay for the basic services. These things are very important. I'm not saying they're not important. What I am saying is it's not entrepreneurship. So the mindsets in many ways are fundamentally different. My grandfather, for example, was self-employed. He had his own, in Philadelphia, he was brought to the United States when he was 2, and he had his own wallpaper hanging store, sold wallpaper and other things. And he didn't become the wallpaper mart, I used to say jokingly. And he stayed more or less a 1 or 2 man operation. And he inculcated in my father, his son, and my aunt, that they shouldn't have to do what he did. That what he did wasn't optimal. They should get real jobs, good jobs, respectable jobs, salary jobs. So my father became a scientist and a professor, and he had a salary job all of his career. So my self-employed grandfather inculcated in my father an anti-entrepreneurial attitude. So that's the major distinction is in mindset. But really, self-employment and entrepreneurship, the differences don't end with just mindset. They really need different things. Micro-enterprise or being employed for yourself, you need different kinds of financial resources. For example, you need more access to credit than you need access to equity or risk capital. Entrepreneurs need access to risk capital. Oftentimes in many environments, micro-enterprise or self-employed actually need more regulation. They need more rules. They need more guidance in terms of what to do. Entrepreneurs, they need less regulation in general. They need more freedom to actually explore new heights and achieve new things. So it's not just, it's the mindset, it's the resources, and to some extent the policies have to be very different. So I really advocate making sure that we make a clear distinction in terms of policy and also the way we talk about these two very important phenomena, these two very important entities of self-employment and entrepreneurship in different ways.